just say I do.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. Today, we're going to be talking about technology and our event world, both in business and personal. You know, is it a blessing or is it a curse, or is it both? It could absolutely be both. But and we have the co-creator and owner of Rock Paper Coin that is going to be joining us shortly. But before I bring her on, let's say hello to Marcy Gutenberg with an affair to remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Keith. How are you?
You know, the thing is that we're talking about technology, whether or not it's a curse or a blessing. And yet, what are we using right now to be able to do this show that we were not able to do? Right? I mean, it is.
It's got its benefits, definitely. I mean, look at us. I mean, would we have been able to do this 5 years ago?
No, please. I wasn't able to do this 3 years ago. I mean, when we first started, it was a Zoom.
Exactly.
We're like, what graphics?
Exactly.
What graphics?
By the way, I just have to brag really quickly on you.
Oh.
You did the most amazing event the last 2 weekends. And especially, I mean, like, the decor was out of this world.
Thank you. It was awesome. I mean, I really did. I've gotten very lucky with a couple of the most recent ones because they had budget that, and I'm like, you see, I'm almost like frightened to say that because I don't want to scare anybody off when they don't have a budget, because every wedding is amazing and beautiful. We just got to do some really interesting things,
cool things
with these last two. Anyway, so I digress. Let's welcome Nora Shiels with Rock Paper Coin. Hi, Nora.
Hi.
Hi, Nora.
I am so excited to have you back on the show. I mean, it was like over a year ago.
Yes, it was. It was in the middle of COVID, which I feel like we're in the same place.
It is.
We're still stuck.
That's crazy.
In that quicksand.
Right? I mean, that to me is just crazy that it's a year later and we're still talking about the same things, but that we're also using the same platforms and the same technology and all of these things to make our lives easier. But as we were saying before we went live, it also has made us a lot more accessible to our clients all of the time, meaning less personal time at night sometimes, and yada yada. But anyway, so let's talk about Rock Paper Coin. Why did you even create this?
Oh my goodness. So I started my career in the wedding industry as a planner. I have a wedding planning company in the Pacific Northwest called Bridal Bliss, and Elizabeth, who is my co-founder at Rock Paper Coin and past planner at Bridal Bliss, we were just kind of frustrated one day, complaining to each other about how we felt like we were constantly reminding our clients to do the same things. And we felt like we were babysitting instead of like doing the fun part of planning a wedding. And so we set out to find software that already existed. We had, I promise you, zero intention of creating a software company, but we tried everything on the market, everything that's out there today. We tried it and it did not work for our company for one reason or another. Either it was too expensive or it wasn't a good user experience for our clients or our team, or it was too complicated, or it wasn't attractive. Right. And so that's kind of how the idea of Rock Paper Coin came to be. If we couldn't find it, we decided that we were going to make it. And the more people that we talked to, we found it was such a need, not only for planners, but for every single vendor type. And so we created Rock Paper Coin, which is essentially a platform focused on the wedding industry that allows for virtual contracts, virtual payments, and shared documents. And there is a ton of new functionality that is coming out this year that we're really excited about too.
Well, it does so much. I have to tell you, it does so much that I probably use like 8% of what it can do, because I basically use it for deposits and for reminders for final payment. I mean, that's kind of like, and then now I've just learned to attach documents. I feel very
good.
Anyway, but you know what I mean? I mean, there's just and that's part of the curse of technology, is that there are so many things that you can now do, and that would be much easier if I just took the time to sit down and learned it. But getting the time to sit down and learn it is the hard part.
Right. It can be daunting, but that being said, most software today has a really amazing support team. As you know, Keith and Marcy, your member success managers are wonderful and so happy to help. So it could just be like a half an hour, block of time that you set aside, have a meeting with your member success manager, and she will walk you through all of that. So it doesn't have to be this overwhelming, daunting thing. I always relate software to one of those aha moments where you wish you would have done it before. I put off having LASIK done for like a million years, and I finally did it. And I was like, why didn't I do this like 5 years ago? It's the same thing with software. It'll really change your life if you find the right solution to your company. So there's no time like the present.
Oh my God. And so talking about access, I have a bride whose wedding is this weekend. And of course, she's madly texting me. So I apologize if I had to step because she's getting on an airplane. I mean, she'll be out of touch for like an hour. Oh my God.
Heaven forbid.
Well, there's a lot to do. But anyway, that's why I'm like, okay, live show or talk to my bride. But is there, because I know that you talk about this great support, is there also videos like that we could watch?
Oh, yes. We have tons of tutorials in our FAQ page, on our YouTube page. So whatever you're trying to achieve, if you're struggling with it and you don't have time to talk to someone, you could just head to our one of our pages and watch a quick video about how to do it step by step.
That's just crazy. I should have done that. Yeah. Marcy, do you have any?
Yes, I use rock, paper, coin and absolutely love it. And your support team is just amazing. If I have a question, one of the things I really like is they'll send me an email follow-up and they'll send me links and video so that it gives me the step-by-step on how to do it in the future so that I have a reference to go back to, which is, that's just that extra hand-holding is just phenomenal. I wanted to find out from you, you mentioned something about coming out with some new features. What time of year frame are we looking at? And what kind are you able to say any features?
I know. Okay, so the biggest one that we're working on, it's the number one request we get over and over. It is for a CRM inquiry management system. So you get an inquiry, it goes directly into Rock, Paper, Coin, and then you can manage it and track it through the platform. So it'll keep all of your inquiries in one place. You can automate responses, and then once it turns into a booking, it'll stay in the system and it'll be quicker and easier to send that contract and invoice over the platform.
And where are the leads coming in from?
They would be coming in through your contact sheet on your website.
Okay.
So we would just have a little code that you would put on your site. We'll make it really easy and give a step-by-step description of how to do it. So it'll be quick and easy to set up. And then that's something that can all be tracked on the same place.
I love that because, it's hard, especially when we've been as busy as we have been in South Florida because, we don't believe that there's such thing as COVID. So, events everywhere.
I'm so jealous. We're like the opposite end of the spectrum over here.
Well, and I think that's the other reason that we're so busy is because everybody's like, go to Florida. Let whatever event size you want. Anyway, but because we have been so busy, it is really difficult to follow up and remember leads and who did I email and what did we email about, when they're not a client yet, there's that precious time from when they first call you or email you to contract. And a lot of times it's really quick, but
if you're not responding like immediately to inquiries, they're going to move on to the next person. So there isn't a lot of wiggle room there. If you don't have a system that'll automate it, you'll lose business. But at the same time, we talked about this blessing and a curse a little bit.
Right.
It can't just be an automated canned response because that is pretty obvious and couples don't want to get that. So it has to be personalized, but it has to be instant. So there's kind of this whole push and pull.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to get that email that says, "Hi, first name,
name here,
last name."
I'm all about templates and personalizing from there, but not the full-on canned response.
Oh my gosh! I mean, that's just hard. Well, and then also, is there going to be an opportunity to be able to have like a service sheet that maybe an inquiry would get an automated response back with, these are the dates that are not available if you're trying to, because a lot of times, especially this last year, I'd get inquiries and I'd look at my calendar and be like, I'm sorry, I'm overbooked. And so, I felt like it wasted a little bit of their time too, because we went through the whole sales call,
Totally.
It's like, oh, amazing.
No,
I can't wait. And they fell in love with me. And then we were like, no,
of course they did.
I know. But then you're like, oh no, I have the dates booked. So now I've learned to start with that. What is your wedding date? But, even it would be cooler if it was even quicker,
Yeah. And so you will be able to basically customize what the different fields on the contact form will be and sync up your calendars. So you'll be able to see bookings. You'll be also able to put on all of the maybe due dates or event dates or whatever. So it'll sync up with whichever calendar you want to put on the platform.
Like Calendly kind of thing.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And then also proposals. So that's something else that we're adding to is the
proposal is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So right now, just FYI, a hack for proposals is to add it as an attachment onto your invoice. So you can always add attachments on there. And that's what most vendors do now if they do want to send a proposal.
Yeah. I mean, I've been starting to add contracts. So that way, because if it's a signed contract, I convert it over to a PDF, attach it to that for their deposit. So, it makes it a one-step process, which is really, really lovely because it does reduce the time. But man, it took me forever to be poked and prodded to even get to a system like this, right? And go, you know what? You should stop doing this all yourself. And as a separate, let me send you a PayPal invoice every single time. It just gets crazy. And you're just like, come on, so, sometimes it takes a little bit to get you pushed to do something that's going to make your life easier.
And it's hard to track all of that too. The beauty of a platform like Rock Paper Coin is that it automates the reminders. So you book a new client, you create your invoice based on the package that they've booked, and then you plug in the due dates. It'll automatically send reminders to your clients. So you can literally set it and forget it. And the only way, you'll see is that you'll have payments into your bank account that were unexpected, kind of like what you were telling me before.
I love that.
But everything, there's tons of communication. So it's always keeping you up to date. You can see when a client has viewed a contract, viewed an invoice. So there's no, I didn't get it. There's a record of everything. And it will send reminders a week before due dates, 3 days before due dates, on the due date itself. And then it will alert you if something is ever overdue.
Well, and I like it. It sends me alerts even when people have problems doing their payment. If there was an issue. So that way, if it continues, I can jump on the line with them really quick and figure it out so they don't feel like they're, floundering out there. What about security? I mean, we are hearing all the time about people hacking into computers and softwares. And, we're talking about a lot of delicate information. Credit cards and payment systems and, all that.
Right. Security was a very, very big concern of ours. We have partnered with Stripe. So all of our payments go through Stripe and they have the highest level of security when it comes to payments. So everything is encrypted. It's double encrypted. All contracts and invoices have their own IP address. So the security is top notch. It can't get any more secure than it is now. There's literally no chance of somebody hacking in and stealing.
Oh, don't do that.
I know. I'm knocking on wood while I say that.
Please don't make it a challenge for somebody.
We do have a team in place that is constantly monitoring and managing our security as well. So it's not like it was fine when we set it up and hopefully it stays up. It's definitely front of mind for us, top of mind.
That's totally me. I would totally do that. It was great when we set it up.
So the one thing I really love about it too is that your clients can really go in and see any of their vendors who use Rock Paper Coin, they can go in and access all of their records at one glance, really, which is great.
So it's kind of like a virtual binder for clients and it's totally free for them to use. And if any of their vendors are on the platform, they have their vendor list, they have all of their contracts, all of their invoices, all in one place. So they can log in, see everything they need. We also have shared documents. I don't know if you've used this new feature yet.
No.
You have to check it out. So it's basically like Google Drive that connects everybody. So many planners and vendors are using it kind of as their source of truth. So kind of at the tail end of planning, it has the final timeline, the final diagram, the final guest list and seating assignments. And then they'll give access to the whole vendor team. So everyone has access to these docs. They know this is the final one because they've probably gotten a couple iterations up until that point. And it's just a great place to share things. So if a client wants to share some photos of florals with their florist that they really love, they can do that through rock, paper, coin, and then they'll have access to it throughout planning.
Is that a section that the client can't see? Can you choose who sees the material?
Yep, you can choose. Whoever uploads the document can choose who it's shared with. So it could be just a company document. It could be shared with just a couple vendors and not the client, or whatever, however you want to use it. It's up to you.
Yeah, only because sometimes too much information gets so overloaded for them. And
well, I mean, and you're developing a new company. I mean, if you had said to yourself 6 years ago or 8 years ago that you would be running this kind of company, you'd be like, what? No, I'm a wedding planner. No. What are you talking about? I'm not into this. So I find it really amazing that you're one of us, so to speak, and that you were answering your own need. I mean,
exactly. And I feel like that's how most successful companies start, in that they are solving a problem that they had. And that's certainly how we started. We never expected it to snowball the way it has. COVID was a blessing and a curse for us. We launched right before COVID started. So obviously we weren't seeing many payments go through, but many wedding professionals had the time to really work on their company rather than in it because they had a break. So many people took a high level look at their company, saw how they can streamline their processes, and then once the wedding boom kind of came in, they were ready to go. They were all set up on rock, paper, coin. They had their, everything ready to go. They had their templates ready. They had their whole account ready. And then once the bookings came in, it was boom, and they were saving time moving forward.
And that's, that is something bad, both a blessing and a curse about COVID, is that you did give us time to, work on the technology pieces that we were looking at and trying to do, but it's got to be scary for you as a company opening right when everything else is closing. It's like, oh, yay, we picked exactly the right time. Perfect. Awesome. Okay.
I know. And we were dealing with it. We were dealing with it too. Our kids were home from school. And so we were trying to do this while managing life and COVID and everything too. So everything is great. I'm glad to see businesses back. We ended up waiving all of our subscriptions when COVID hit. So we were just trying to allow as many vendors as possible to get on without a barrier to entry, just to help out the community at such a difficult time. And many of them are still with us today.
Yeah. So, because you're not a tech person, right? Were you a techie before? Could you actually write code and all that stuff?
Oh my gosh, I still can't. Neither Elizabeth and I are both non-technical co-founders, which we had and have a vision for the company.
Right.
And so to communicate that to developers who speak a completely different language was kind of a challenge and entertaining all at the same time. So we just have an amazing team. We hired a full stack development team to get started, and they got us through our launch, and then they actually dissolved. The company dissolved. So we hired the developers that had launched us in-house. And so now they work for us, which ended up working out great.
So those are your technical.
They know the code like the back of their hands, when they know how we communicate too. So it's easy for them to kind of convert that into stories and codes and things like that.
But here you are, you're an event planner, you come up with this really great idea. As an outsider, when I look in on this, my question is weren't you worried that somebody was going to steal your idea? Like if you had this like really brilliant idea, I mean, how do you go into that process and both protect it and obviously find people that will bring it to life?
Yeah. So When we first started, we had everyone that we met with sign NDAs just to kind of protect us on the back end. And then once we got in deeper and were like ready to introduce it to potential wedding professionals, we were like a year and a half in. So it takes that much development time to get it going. So even if someone were to steal the idea, we'd have a year and a half ahead of them. And we're the only platform that includes all three parties in a wedding. So the client, the vendor, and the wedding planner. So Keith, we were kind of talking about this earlier. Keith has a bride who never signed her contract for this weekend with a hair and makeup artist. And we were saying if that had all gone through rock, paper, coin, Keith would have been alerted that this hadn't been signed. He would have had the capability to sign on behalf of his client, and it wouldn't have been an issue. So there's three-way communication, whereas in many platforms, the planner is completely left out, and you don't know whether or not something has been sent, if it's been signed, if it's been paid. So you're kind of at the mercy of your client and the vendor, which is really frustrating for all parties. There's one platform that a lot of members use, or a lot of pros use, where it only goes directly to the client, and the client obviously wants their planner to see it. So they'll forward it to him or her or they. And when the planner clicks the link, it's broken because they're not the person getting married. And so there's this whole like frustrating cycle and nothing gets done. And it's just really annoying. So that's what we are trying to avoid. And we've kind of flipped it upside down. So everyone has the option to communicate. Clients can give their planner permissions to act on their behalf. So their planner can sign contracts for them. They can make payments on them using the client's payment methods. And everyone knows if something's been paid, if something's been signed, if something's been received or updated. So there's never a question on what's been done, what we're waiting on, anything like that.
One of the things I do have to tell you is that obviously in South Florida, it's, everybody knows everybody. And, especially in the hotel world, if you've worked for one hotel, if you go to another hotel, you're probably going to know all other people there. And, but, when it comes to planners, one of the things that I realized is that there was another planner who also uses rock, paper, coin, and I'm not going to name names or who it was because they had a disagreement with their original client. So the client and the wedding planner split. Client then hired me to come in and fix some stuff. And I went to go put them in rock, paper, coin. And rock, paper, coin said, sorry, that's not your client. And I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. That's so weird. I'm like, well, let me send them a PayPal link.
Oh no. So on rock, paper, coin, you can only have one planning company that you're working with. Otherwise, both would get permissions, and we only want one to get permissions. So you should have let me know. I could have taken care of that for you.
It was such an in the moment, and I didn't remember it until just now. But I was like really surprised. I was like, oh well, I guess that is a thing. I mean, because that happens a lot. Not everybody's a perfect match.
What if they had used a different email? Could that have been a potential?
Yeah, that could have been fine. We just would have to disconnect them to their past planner. Really, really quick and easy to do. So next time, just let us know.
Okay, see, that's where when you have technology and you have the people in the background that know what to do. Hello.
I only know because I had an issue with one of Keith's clients. Actually, we worked together with the same client, and I couldn't get access. They couldn't get access to pay the invoice on my account because it was already linked to him. So I was not put in as a vendor. I was put in as a planner originally.
I see.
That's why.
So that is all changing here shortly. When I was talking about our roadmap, that's one of the things that's changing is the whole connection. It's a whole connection refactor. So vendors right now, a vendor can't send an invoice to a vendor unless they use a different email address. That's all changing. And same with planner versus vendor and all of that. So that frustration will go away real quick.
Well, and that just makes it again so much easier because there's so many times that my client are like, can you just please take care of this? They're so busy. They're like, you know what? Here's my credit card. Just can you make sure it's taken care of? And that's part of it,
So at Bridal Bliss, the planning company, most clients will just sign up, give their planner permissions, and then not even log on again because their planner will take care of it all.
Right.
Wow.
Well, and then how do you feel about like do you feel like it's a competition with like Honeybook and some of these other programs that are out there? I mean, technology is everywhere, obviously, and there are other planning programs, but Honeybook doesn't quite fit the same needs, I think, as rock, paper, coin.
And
but they're
Depalo
similar.
as well.
But there's some
Honeybook
similarities.
is the one I was mentioning earlier with the broken link. I cannot tell you how many times we've tried to access a friggin' contract with a broken link. So it's not competition. And when we do a demo with somebody that's on Honeybook, or they tell us that they're using Honeybook, it's kind of like, okay, that just got a lot easier. But granted,
like,
they have functionality that we don't. So it really depends on what the company's needs are. But that three-way communication is such a difference, not only to planners, but to any vendor. Because if you're a vendor and you're working with the planner and you have a client on rock, paper, coin, everything's going to go through faster because the planner is going to handle it. You're not going to have to worry about a bride or groom that are, taking their time to check their email or whatever. The planner is going to be on it and they're going to take care of it instantly because they want to take it off their to-do list.
So I have to ask, why rock, paper, coin? Like, where'd that name come from? Where'd that name come from? I mean, it's like because, you think rock, paper, scissors. Okay, got it. Rock, paper, coin? Wait,
so
where did that come from?
It was a long, daunting process to come up with a name. We recently just found a scratch paper where we had written down a bunch of different names, and we were between a couple of them. And one of them was paper coin. And we'd searched it on GoDaddy, and I don't know why we kept searching it. It was still available, but somebody at GoDaddy bought it and then contacted us and tried to sell it to us for like $10,000.
No,
wow.
So we took that off the list, and then there was two. I can't remember. I'll have to look up what they were, but there were two, and we couldn't decide. I liked one, Elizabeth liked the other, and so then we were gonna do rock, paper, scissors, and one of them ended with coin, and she accidentally said coin instead of scissors, and we kind of stopped and looked at each other, and we're like, "It's perfect. That's what we're gonna do."
It is.
And
it's
then
very catchy.
if you think about it, rock for a ring, paper for a contract, and coin for an invoice.
Oh, look at that full circle.
Nice.
I love that full circle. I love that. Go ahead.
Sorry.
You first. You, Marcy.
Talk to us a little bit about the fees for a client from a client's perspective. Like when we send an invoice, just so that people have an idea of what they can expect.
For a client, it's totally free for them to sign up and to use. All they have to do is sync up a bank account so they can do an ACH transfer to pay their vendors. If they want to use a credit card, they can also load up as many credit cards as they want. It's just an added 2% fee.
Okay. So that's what I was, that is actually a question I had because one of my clients said, "Oh, I'm paying more to use rock, paper, coin." I'm like, I think that's the same credit card processing fee you would get anywhere, and it's cheaper because normally it's 3%. So
so most vendors will upcharge 3 to 4%, some up to 5% for couples that want to use a credit card. So in most cases, it's less expensive to just use a credit card on rock, paper, coin. And if they do want to avoid fees altogether, that's totally fine too. They just have to sync up a bank account.
See, to me, that seems easy, but everybody's, there are a lot of people putting stuff on credit cards now,
Yeah, for sure.
That 27% interest is totally worth miles.
I know, it's kind of mind-boggling how many people do that, but
I know, it's like, oh my God, it's like, what, 27% interest? Anyway, well, I mean, and so when you first were starting the company and you thought, okay, yes, this is something that we're going to do, and you started actually talking to developers, I mean, the financial cliffhanger had to be a little daunting to think about. Okay, we're all in, both feet. We're gonna do both feet, and so I mean, opening an event planning company is a little easier because there's no real product except us at the beginning. Fans have bought lights and all sorts of crazy stuff but there's very little except for some business cards, and then going out and shaking hands and talking to people. I mean, that's a pretty easy way to open a company. This doesn't feel like it's the same thing.
No, and we were so naive starting out. We had no idea how much development costs or how much work it entails, how much time it entails. Even to this day, we'll talk to our developers and be like, can't you just do that real quick? Can't you just make it do that? And they just kind of smile and nod.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did a lot of research before we went in, with both feet and decided to do it. And it's cost way more even than we anticipated at that point. So we have investor backing, we have venture backing, which has been great. But it's allowed us to do a lot of things that we might not have been able to otherwise.
Was that something like, when you started thinking about investors and venture capital? I mean, to me, that is speaking a whole other language that I have zero idea of what it actually means, right? That's like speaking French to me. And I'm like, what's an investor bank? What? Somebody's going to give me, right? Somebody's going to give me money to make my dream come true. I mean, what? I mean,
yeah, I'm telling you, this whole thing has been a crazy learning experience because I was like you. I mean, I was a wedding planner for 18 years before I started this. And I started my wedding planning company like at the beginning of the internet. Like that's how old I am.
If Katie Couric can still look,
email, people would look in the yellow pages and call their vendors.
Oh, that's funny because Katie Couric was talking about, this internet. I'll never forget that, this internet, tell us about this internet. Anyway, but yeah, so you're same thing. You were starting with zero knowledge.
Sure. So our first investor, who was our third co-founder, was actually a past client of mine that I planned all of her company events, her wedding, her personal events, and she had just gotten to know what it was like working with me. And she had the same frustrations as a client of how annoying it was dealing with contracts and invoices. So she got on from the very beginning and is still a part of the company. And
That's
then
amazing.
From there, we launched and we needed more money. So we actually reached out to another past client. And what we found through this whole process, most of our investors, other than the venture funds, are past clients. So they believed in us as people. And that's what most of the people we've pitched to or talked to have said. They're like, it's not so much about the company. It's about who's behind it and what their experience is, in this space, and if we think they can do it. So thankfully, people think we can do it.
I'm laughing because I get nervous telling somebody that they're going to have to pay $5.50 for a Shibari chair. And you're like, let me call people to get some money for opening a company. All right.
I know. And Elizabeth, my co-founder, who's also my sister-in-law, we're related. She is heading up the fundraising, and she is great at it. She's picked up, the terminology, and she can answer all the questions without batting an eye. She's way better at it than I am. So she has taken that on, but we've met so many cool, great people that we never would have otherwise. And something that's been surprising is how willing people in the space are to help. In tech in general, we're two women in tech, non-technical founders. We're definitely the minority. It's a man's world. So the amount of people that have reached out to us or been willing to hear our pitch or give us advice, it's been really wonderful.
That's amazing. And that is something I was going to ask you about is that, what is it like being two female non-tech business owners of a tech company? Like, do you get the pat on the head and, nice job kind of thing? Or you should no.
We did at first. And that's kind of how pitching went, is that we would have this awesome pitch. We'd have our verbiage ready to go. And we found that a majority of the pitch was actually educating people about the wedding industry and how it works. Because when you're pitching to venture funds, more often than not, it's a room of white middle-aged men that got married so long ago, their kids haven't gotten married yet, and so they're totally removed from the industry and don't.
And they're on their third marriage,
And when they hear wedding industry, there have been a couple ventures that were a couple companies that were venture backed that were known pretty well that flopped, and so a lot of investors kind of had heard about those and didn't want anything to do with the industry. Right. And when they heard wedding industry, they just kind of thought of fluff. And then you're like, well, it's actually a $74 billion industry. And then their eyes light up a little bit, it's not a fluffy industry. And that's kind of what we're hoping to do too, is elevate the industry as a whole, so more people outside of it take it more seriously.
Well, it's cutthroat. You know, if you don't know what you're doing in this business, man, you're going to get slapped down by somebody. I mean,
so true.
It's amazing how quickly people are, you know, like, what are you doing? That's how you do stuff. Like, man.
But I will say, what year did you both start your companies?
Well, it was BC. No, it's been a while. I mean, I've had two companies. So I had a company ages ago, 25 years, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Longer than that. Yeah. Whatever. Good lighting. Anyway, so, you know, but and then again, when I moved to Fort Lauderdale about 6 years ago, when I opened up Keith Willard Events, but in between there, I was working for hotels. And
oh, wow. Okay.
Working up the ranks in the hotel business, but still in the event world. And then before that, I was the executive director of a not-for-profit. So that's that's how we made money is creating events that people bought tickets to. So,
I love it. Marcy, how about you?
I started my company in 2007.
Okay.
So my company will be 15 this year. And before that, I was also in the event industry, in the hotel, in the country clubs and the restaurant scene. You know, director of catering for sales and catering for a fine dining restaurant.
Oh, I love
But I had started back in 19 in the 80s.
Oh, see, that's bad. Don't use the word 19. When you start saying 19, then
I know.
It's like 80s. Oh,
yeah.
I'm feeling a lot better about myself right now.
But look at these two old people. I feel so much better about myself.
But the reason I ask is I think there's been such a huge shift in the industry as a whole. Whereas when I first started, you did not talk to your competitors. You did not speak.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, no, definitely
Nobody
not.
would talk to me or have coffee with me or anything. Mm-hmm. But now there's this whole shift of community over competition where people really want to help each other and be a support. And there's so much business to go around that it's absolutely the way to go. There's a million planners that don't have that attitude, and they're losing business because of it, and friendships, to be honest.
Well, there's a million planners that suck. So let's put that out there. So, you know, if they don't want to share, that's because they have insecurity. So, you know, just put that out there.
But what a lot of planners and just vendors in general don't really understand is that there's only so much business that a company can take. And when they're booked, they're going to refer that business out to people that they trust and like.
Yeah.
And so that could be you if you are willing to, you know, really be a support for somebody and help them out on the other end. So there's a scratch my back, I'll scratch yours attitude that I think has been like amazing for the industry as a whole.
Well, and you know, and that is absolutely true. We do have an amazing community down here that everybody talks to each other. I mean, I am huge fans of like Jimmy Lipman with Absolute Events and Lisa Pierce with Lisa Pierce, the fact that she went into business for herself after working for a really well-known local event company, and then went out and like immediate success. So,
killed the bar and bat mitzvah scene. Oh my god,
killed it.
Very cool.
Like amazing. But you know, that's what I'm saying is that there is so much business that you have to have people that you're able to turn to. I mean, like Herb over at Elegant Parties, you know, having to get last minute stuff, you better have some great relationships with people because they're going to be the ones that save you, right? They're going to be the ones that say, oh, I can do hair and makeup for everybody this weekend.
No contract, no problem.
No contract, no problem. But that's the thing, it's about community. But now your community has just gotten so much bigger, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I know. We have, so we're not global yet, but we have the whole nation. Exactly. That's with our next round of fundraising. We have a massive waiting list from Canada and Mexico specifically, which is so interesting.
Wow.
So I know it's so fun, but you know, every state in the country, we have members on Rock, Paper, Coin.
That's amazing. So, because then if you're starting to think about that, then you're going to have to think about like, you know, conversion rates, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we know all about that.
In and out of US dollars. Oh my God. Because that people make fortunes off of, you know, pennies. It's crazy.
I know. It's so true.
But that would probably be a Stripe thing, I would think.
Exactly. There's tech for that. We don't have to do that manually.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
You're like, okay, that's not our business.
I don't do
Too
that.
much business. Yep, give that to you. Okay, gotcha.
The nice thing that I hear, I mean, like my clients are like so ecstatic because it makes it so easy for them. They can sign their contracts, they can pay online, they can refer back to it. It's just an easy process for them, and that's honestly that makes us look like fantastic.
Totally, yeah.
They have our act together.
They can also auto pay. So when they receive an invoice, say it's split up in 4 different installments, they click auto pay and their account is automatically charged every time a new due date comes in. So it's one less step for them.
I love that. Actually, I have a client that pays me every month. She like literally every month. I'm like, okay, if you want me every month, that's fine. And that's not what I normally do, but okay, Don't
you love getting that email? Boom, you got paid.
I know. I do, actually. I really do, because most of the time I've forgotten. I'm so focused on doing the event that I've totally forgotten about the payment thing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I do this for a living. Okay, I can pay my bills. Amazing.
I will say, actually, that's a big post-COVID change, is a lot of vendors are breaking up their payments into more installments, whereas before it was more common to see like a retainer and a final payment. Now people are really breaking it up a little bit more. A lot of vendors kind of got burned with clients canceling and not having a ironclad contract that they were able to get out of final payments. So now if you have more payments that are non-refundable that have already been paid for, you can hold on to it easier.
Oh, and look, Brooke. Hi,
oh,
Brooke.
And you can. Hi, Brooke.
Hi. She's like, I'm only 40 minutes late.
I got a brand new ring light from my awesome boss, and I forgot I had to put it together.
No.
And I may have slept in on accident.
Details.
Full disclosure, I was cleaning the house and mopped, and I slept on the couch, and I'm like, I got 30 minutes, and whoops.
Oh my gosh.
Out she went. Oh my God, that's funny, because if you had rock, paper, coin in your life, they would have woken you up for you.
Ding, ding, ding.
You were saying,
hi, Nora.
Hi.
Yes.
Good to see you.
So, like, one of the other things that I like is because I work with a tangible product, I don't like to bill my client for their final payment until I have it in hand. And sometimes, you may have a delay or two for, a few days or something. I like the fact that I can, on my side, I can change the due date for them, which is also a benefit to your client, that, they're not having to pay something for a tangible product until until they receive it. Which is nice. I mean, it's just an extra feature.
And you can edit that invoice as much as you need to before it's paid. And you can also include as many installments as you want. So we have the option of splitting payments up into 4 equal payments. But if you wanted to split it up into 10 or, different amounts for every month, whatever it is, you have the option to do that too. So there's a lot of flexibility.
I like the fact that it gives you what the percentage is at the bottom, because, I'm not very good with math. And so it's like, oh, that's only 85%. Okay, I need to put in another payment.
Yeah.
Here. Well, what do you do about credit card when people, fight the credit card charge? Because you've deposited it into the bank account. So, what do you do?
So we handle it between the vendor and the credit card company. So there's usually like a 90-day period where you have to send in documentation, like you would send in the signed contract or whatever it is. It's very specific what they need. So we kind of act as your support on that end. We get everything we need from you. We submit it on your behalf. Just to kind of expedite the process for you. And it's only happened a couple times. The first time we had a client reach out to their credit card company, it was about the wrong installment, or it was like the wrong payment that they were trying to fight. And so we went through this whole thing, and it was the wrong line item on their credit card. So nobody had to be involved. It was ridiculous.
No, that's crazy.
So thankfully we won that, but our members have won every single time. If you have a signed contract, you're most likely going to win.
Well, I find, and that's the thing, is that I love the fact that you're the one that's starting that process and that I don't have to worry about it as much.
Right.
Because that is a worry to have all of a sudden money disappear from your account. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, where'd that go?
Where'd it go?
It's super stressful too to monitor it and make sure you're hitting the due dates and being like, oh, I haven't heard from them for a while. I wonder what's going on. So our team handles all of it.
Well, and plus
it's
also
very rare.
It is. You'd hope so, but people are jerks. And of course, COVID really showed colors of the true colors of people. Out of nowhere, people turned on a dime, and you're like, "Wait a minute, where did Frankenstein go?" Oh my
Jerks
God.
everywhere.
I know. They all kind of came out. This past summer, especially.
Yes.
We noticed that a lot more. So hopefully things are changing.
Well, and the stress and just the environment in the world today. I mean, because so many people were having to go through job shifts. I mean, they do call it the Great Resignation right now.
Right.
And so everybody's out there finding themselves. I don't know where they went because
they're not working.
I know, they're not working, and they're still in the same room.
Wherever you go, there you are. There's no need for lost and found. Wherever you go, there you are.
But I mean, you're seeing. So what did you do? I mean, because starting a new company, you have to get out there, right? You need to be the face of the company and going and selling it. So COVID, all of a sudden, was it you were totally dependent on doing video stuff?
It was all over Zoom, back-to-back Zooms, which was actually kind of nice because we didn't have to travel as much as we had planned.
Or put on pants.
Or put on pants. Or put on makeup. You just use a Zoom filter and you're golden.
Done.
Oh no, I didn't have that option.
We did. Oh yeah, you look way too good for a filter.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love her. Let's restart the show.
but so you were doing back-to-back Zooms. I mean, did you just get like, oh gosh, when do we finally get to be in person again? And then when we did, I had to tell you, I didn't know how to talk to people. It was weird because you're all
plus
of a
you
sudden,
had to wear pants.
Yes, plus I had to wear pants. Well, no, I didn't. Maybe that was the weird part.
Well, you're in Florida.
That totally makes sense.
You're in Florida. You're talking about when we could go back into person.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the Pacific Northwest. We still have to wear masks inside. They just removed our outdoor mask mandate. So we're like in a different country over here.
Wow.
You totally are. Oh my God. Here, at first it was like elbows. Now everybody's like, bring it in, hug it out kind of thing.
I know.
I mean, they are totally into the hugging here. But and everybody does that awkward moment of like, do we hug?
Do we
elbows,
I know. It'll all be a distant memory. But we've done a couple conferences since then. We've done Wedding MBA. We got to see you all in Florida for the special event. So conferences are definitely back. Yeah. I know. They're back. We're being able to see more people, but more one-on-one demos. Most people aren't interested in doing that. They'd prefer it over a Zoom.
How important is word of mouth for your company?
Incredibly important. That's how we get most of our members at this point. One member has a great experience. They're saving so much money on their processing fees. They're going to tell their friends. Our processing fee, as you know, is a flat 2.5%. So it's substantially less than any other platform out there. So instantly when you switch over to Rock Paper Coin,
the whole time.
yeah, and that's not bad. Most are anywhere from 3 to 5%. And so 2.5 over time is a substantial amount of money. We like one photographer.
And that's for the pro side.
Yeah.
That's for the pro side,
right.
Correct.
Right.
So normally if you're through Stripe or through PayPal or one of those, it's going to be quite a bit more. But just because we have a large number of members, we were able to negotiate lower rates. And so everyone on Rock Paper Coin reaps the benefits.
How many members do you have at the moment?
We have about 1,500 vendors.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, and now you're thinking about opening it up to Canada and Mexico, hopefully fingers crossed and all that stuff. Well, I know that you have to run to go get your kid. I've been watching the clock to make sure because I was like, I don't want her to get, have child
And she's at
services.
another seminar later on today, right?
Yeah.
Elizabeth is.
Oh, okay.
Elizabeth. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I didn't want child services coming after you because we kept you on. So
There is nothing worse than being late for
Get your
preschool
child.
pickup.
Get your child.
no, there's not, and all the other mothers judge you, and the
Oh,
teachers give
the
you the
mother,
look.
forget the moms, it's the teachers.
Yes. And I
That
know because
disapproving look.
well, my husband's a teacher, so I know that stink
Oh.
eye. I know it. Believe me.
You just look at her and be like, you chose this.
I know.
I chose that.
I know. You just have to give them bottles of wine here and there, and they're happy.
And then they're happy. Oh my God. So Nora, thank you so much for being on Behind the Veil. Thank you so
Thank
much. We
you.
love having you. I hope you come back again at some point in the future,
Of
because
course.
we would love to hear more about like when the new services go in, and then when of course you open up your borders to Mexico and Canada.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely. It was so good to see you all.
Thank
Great
you
seeing
so
you,
much.
Nora.
Okay, run and go get your kid.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Wasn't she
That was
lovely?
wonderful. Oh my gosh.
She is lovely.
She is
you know,
amazing.
we really do get to meet some of the coolest people on the show. I mean,
And I just have to say, honestly, their platform, honest to God, is just that easy. It really
it's so
is.
easy. Well, and you know, the
Yes.
thing is that they're two females entrepreneurs in a tech world. I mean, that is some really amazing stuff. I mean, talking about forging ahead,
Yes.
you know,
Right.
setting goals. I mean,
being an example.
pushing it. Yes.
But being an example, I mean, think about this. I mean, they opened a company with zero knowledge of what it was going to take. Didn't even know what investment bankers were, which I still don't know. I need to Google that. But, you know, I mean,
Breaking that glass ceiling.
exactly. I'm so like, I'm impressed with her, and she's just such a relaxed human being. I mean, that's Nora. What you see just now is like how she always is. Just nice and lovely and easy to talk to, and just a kind person.
Has great hair.
Has great hair,
Yes,
exactly.
She does, doesn't she?
And
oh my
and
gosh.
ridiculously smart. Ridiculously smart. It's crazy. So anyway, so Brooke, how you doing, baby? I hated the fact that you were running behind. I was actually wondering.
glad you're back.
I needed that sleep, apparently.
Apparently. How are you
My
feeling?
floors needed to be but more than that. I'm good. I'm about probably an 87 out of 100%. So hopefully
Better.
Good.
I'm making sure that I don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Yes.
that's why I took 5 days to mop my floors. That's just me being lazy.
What did you do? Like a square at a time? You're like,
3.
I'm waiting on
Yeah.
Did you like just lay on the floor and like rub one square and then
The office was a disaster. So
Yeah.
I took stuff to storage yesterday, and I found my house again. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was under there somewhere. But you know that's the hard part about this business, is that we're all working from our homes, and so
Right.
you know
I just put Christmas away.
I
I didn't even put it up. Like I
I-
got some of Christmas out, and I just stopped, and then I just put it back in the closet underneath the bed yesterday.
I did the same thing. I just finished taking the last of the Christmas stuff to the storage house, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it took me this long to get rid of Christmas. I mean,
I love the
usually
new
it's like-
ring light. It's big. You upgraded me. I think I had a 10er. This is a 12er.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
she gets tall. She's like, I'm like, ooh.
her old ring light kept falling over. So she had that.
I
thing
literally
for-
had like the foot in my hand holding the cords together and the wires so that the light would stay on like the last 4
exactly
shows.
with duct tape, and then you would see it fall off, and
Yeah, it was
I
hot
don't know
mess,
what
hot
it is with the
mess.
bigger one. The big ones do that because mine has a tendency to do that too.
yeah.
If I don't keep it just like perfect, it's
Yeah.
just like the light stops.
Well, and that's why I said I got to send you a new ring light. I said,
He
oh
did.
my God.
It's fabulous. Like my little guys back here, all just broken down and duct. Like it really is duct taped right here.
It is. Isn't
Oh
that
my
sad?
goodness.
It's bad. Yeah, this is the one. She's got us through many a show.
But still, you think,
Just
oh
not
my
the last
God.
3.
Well, and it's so
You
funny.
look
My
good
ring light.
though.
You do. You look
you.
really good.
Thank you.
My ring light's like a clip-on, so I got lucky. It has. My mom actually, I think, got me this. I don't know why she. Anyway, I was thinking Kim
Wow.
Kardashian. Like, I'm not Kim Kardashian. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, thank you again, ladies, for being on the show and
Always.
being my co-host. And congratulations to me and to you. But
Yay, Hall of
um,
Famer. Are
did
we
you
talking about the
also-
Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. So Hall of Fame. We got Hall of Fame.
Yes, that's right.
Oh
You
my
guys
God.
got the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So
I'm in there.
I was a little surprised by that. I was like, oh,
I told him,
wow,
I said, I'm
really?
going to let my head
That's
swell on this
fantastic.
one a little bit.
Yeah, but that means you had to get like top 3% of reviews for 5 years or 4 years, one of those in a row.
Wow.
And that's really
We're on
hard
our
to do.
fourth.
Really hard.
We're on our 4th year.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because when you shoplifted me 4 years later, or 3 years later, full circle, I kind of transitioned back a little bit to help almost to the day, because November 2nd was the yacht.
Yeah.
A week later would have been the 9th. And I think I started my first contract on the 8th of November. So like within a day.
Back to the fold, honey. You never leave the mob. Never leave the mob.
No. Underboss, baby. I'm the underboss.
All right, guys. Love you both so much.
Love you too. Say goodbye.
We'll see you next Tuesday right here behind the veil every Tuesday at 2 at 5. But for now, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.